フォンもよし。これで一通りの説明はできたと思います。
How long has it been since we've seen Operation Body Raina, though?
はい、ポーレット。説明のし忘れは一個もなしです。
Oh.
I'm learning new stuff. I thought I'd have to focus completely, but once the driving stabilizes, my attention turns to behind me.
ポーレット、体にどこか。
前方注視、気を散らさない。
She's projecting her voice to me. The coaxing tone is completely gone, leaving behind the stern voice of a trainer. The aura of a professional engineer is behind me, and scolds me to maintain my focus.
この方法が最善です。それは相鉄くんも納得したことです。
She's telling, not asking. Paulette tries to erase the doubt in my heart.
念のため、より精密な検査を受ける必要がある。だから私は、湯の井の温泉病院に行く。
信号、進行。
進行、よし。
A satisfied laugh. It's most likely due to a voiced confirmation of my voice confirmation of the signal while pointing at it.
片や相鉄くんは、私の負担を減らすため、負担を分散するために、キハ 07S の運転操作を覚えたい。
But like, what happened to 8620? That's correct. I was worried that she may be resistant to the idea, but Paulette accepted it and has entrusted the driver's seat to me.
だから、臨時列車を仕立てて、お客様なしの練習走行と、私の移送とを兼ねる。
Logically, this would be the most efficient way, so long as there's no psychological factor playing into Paulette's overwork. I think you already mentioned that she has trauma. As for me, even if she has to take the longer route, I want her to travel with using Navi. However, Kisaki's warning to us won't let us do so. The approval of the mine treasure plan and the permit of the riverbank must be obtained by the next assembly, or Hosho Mototada will find a way to shoot down the idea. We don't have time to spare, now that the situation has come to this point. Finishing the training smoothly is what we need to be focused on. Then I have no choice but to concentrate. I will complete it and have Paulette get some needed rest. Considering that, the worries in my mind fade, allowing me to switch gears in concentration.
たらぎ廃液通過。よし。
I thought the check was good, but I feel like something's off with my pointing and checking. We're not late or early in the scheduled time, and the name of this closed station is correct. No.
レイナ
Listen, I don't know what you expected. Rana needs to sleep. She's got narcolepsy or whatever. There was no warning whatsoever. She was awake a moment earlier, and now she's asleep. There is still quite a bit of distance until Unai Station. There is time left, but the lack of help from the rail lord strikes fear into me. I'm about to call for Paulette, but quickly stop myself. There's no way she didn't notice Rana's situation. She doesn't give me any direction, because she trusts me. I don't want to add anything else to Paulette's list of worries either.
信号、進行、よし。
There's a list of scheduled times for the departure, arrival, and passing of closed stations. I look at the staff schedule to check again the passing time of each station and the arrival time at Unoi Station. The next two passings should be fine. Even I can do that alone. Right before Unai Station is closed, is the closed Tsuruha Station. After passing Tsuruha's platform, 8620 should be able to get to Unai Station in 140 seconds. Tsuruha Station will be my point of measure. If she can wake up before then, great. If not, I'll brake for safety. It would be best to wait until Reina comes back.
東多良木廃駅通過。
Once we pass through here, we'll have to prepare for the next step. I'll have to make verbal checks each step of the way to prevent panicking, and doing all the confirmations, I start applying pressure on the brakes to lower the speed.
制限50。よし。
I managed it, but it was close. I just managed to get it under the speed limit of 50 kilometers. Kieha 7 is much lighter than 8620. I almost forgot that. Stay calm, stay calm. Don't be distracted. But like, how can you not be distracted when the one person who was able to verify... How would I say this? How would you be able to stay calm when Rain is sleeping? She's got more experience than you. I can't help but be bothered. Unease starts building up in my heart. Could she be in deep sleep? The kind where she's out for 6 or even 8 hours?
レイナ、起きろ、レイナ。
Using this as a training session for the train operation. It won't be as significant unless I simulate that there's a customer on board. There are customers on board. Because of that, I can't raise my voice, and I can't shake her either. I can see the edge of the platform of the closed Tsuruba Station. Hang on a minute, that's a different name. I better just prepare myself. I step on the clutch pedal that isn't present in 8620 and...
ごめんなさい。
レイナ、やれるか。
現状確認。大丈夫です。相鉄さん、レイナ、湯の井駅停車の指示を出します。
確認のため、一度通しで口頭で頼む。
はいです。クラッチカット、ブレーキ開始はもうすぐです。
Putting the gear in neutral before braking is not that different from controlling 8620. I follow Randa's instructions and use the service brake to slow down. After coming this far, even if Reina falls asleep again.
制限25。よし。
制限25。よし。
The surface brake overlaps, lightens, and then tightens. I gradually reduce the brakes to slow the deceleration. Screech clunk. I caused the shocks, but the stopping location is...
停止位置。よし。到着。定時。
停止位置。よし。到着。定時。
I'm glad I managed to stop. I applied the handbrake to keep it motionless. In the next instant, I break out into a cold sweat. There's this and that and that. Having the rail lord go silent in the middle of driving is comparable to losing your eyes and ears at the same time. Okay, it's not that bad. If this happens regularly during business operations, Paula had been subjected to this much pressure and tension all along. On top of that, she followed in her father's footsteps as a politician, where she's expected to present herself and perform at a certain level as well.
ポーレット。
お見事でした、相鉄くん。
You're amazing. Before I can say that to her, she says it to me.
さすが機関士さんは違いますね。冷静でポイントつかむのがうまいです。
ああ。
It's impertinent for someone like me with so little experience to be called an engineer. That's the first thought that crosses my mind, but I keep my mouth shut.
そう思ってもらえたのなら何よりだ。
Complimenting will only add to Paulette's burden. Even being modest will cause her to worry. So instead I act confident, so that I don't worry her.
ポーレットの方は大丈夫か？体に異常などないか？
大丈夫です。相鉄くんの運転がとっても快適だから、乗る前よりもむしろ元気になれたかも。
そうか。
She's lying. This is how Paulette continues to burden herself. When Raina collapsed, who knows how hurt she must have felt. And she tries to hide all that behind a smile.
相鉄さん。
ああ、レイナもありがとう。不慣れな僕をよくナビゲートしてくれた。
I pat her head with my left hand and put my finger on her lips with my right. I peer into her eyes. I whisper into her ear, Raina, if you apologize, Paulette will worry.
レイナ、もっと上手にご一緒できるよう、頑張ります。
ああ、そうだな。
Wonderful. Those words that Raina tried so hard to think of help guide me. Yeah, as well.
僕もそうする。ベストを尽くす。もっと上手になれるよう、もっと一緒にいられるように。
With Paulette, with Raina, with everyone of Ohitoyo's railway. If we do this together, and our anxieties will lessen.
私もそうします。
ああ、そうしてくれ。そしてよりよく、一緒に未来へ進んでいこう。が、その前にだ。
Fuck. I take her hand and hold up Raina's light body by the shoulder to help her up from her seat. Her footsteps descend on the platform seem stable, but descending on the platform seems stable, but
ナビを回り込ませている。温泉病院までは空路で行こ
相鉄くんは？
う。無論、着きそう。着水地点からはおそらく徒歩で登ることになるしな。
はい、わかりました。それならよろしくお願いします。
レイナはポーレットと相鉄さんが帰ってくるまで折り返しのための整備をしておきますね。
うん、頼む。
while Paulette is being examined, I'll go and make a few calls. Reverend Akai, Todoru Hot Springs owner, and more. Someone that knows Paulette's past well. Paulette's problem and Raina's problem must be fixed. That's why I'll first gather information, however I can start working on a solution. However I can and start working on a solution. Can't say for sure, but if one gets solved, I have a feeling I'll be able to find the hint to solving the other.
大丈夫そうなら行くぞ、ポレット。
We just have to keep moving forward. I hold Paulette's hand gently and take a step onto Unai Station. Maitetsu. Alright. How far are we skipping forward, though?
すみません。こちらからお話をお願いしたにもかかわらず、お運びをいただいてしまって。
うちんぼろ湯じゃ、どこから話が漏れるか知れんけんね。
Okay, it's not that far, Ed.
どうぞ、お上がりください。
I have her come up to my room, to which she looks around looks around upon entry. We sit down on some cushions, and she asks me in a suppressed tone,
86は。
他の誰にも聞かれたくないとのことでしたので、枕姉と響に連れて出てもらってます。
They're at the usual shopping arcade meeting. But the timing for the meeting is an important one. They're attempting to get some grassroots support for the Mine Treasure plan. Hachiroku's PR will work toward it. At the same time, this meeting here will be much more secretive. Killing two birds with one stone. That's what this is.
この部屋までは蔵の人間は来ませんし、万が一誰か来ても足音でそれとわかります。
なら、よかったよ。
Her gaze turns straight to me. I feel slightly overwhelmed. I guess you can call this annual rings. You can call it annual rings. It feels like she can see straight into me. Straight into me.
で、
レイナの居眠り、処理落ちを防止するための対策について教えていただきたく思っています。
When I say it out loud, she nods back at me.
理屈は簡単。けど、実践はかなり難しか話ばい。
It's the same answer she gave me over the phone. Then what she'll say from here is something she doesn't want others to hear.
では、まずその理屈の方を教えていただけますか。
カフカが処理落ちの原因やけん、負荷ば減らしてやりゃあよかっとよ。
I see. That's an extremely simple reason.
この場合の負荷は、ディーゼル機動車改造に伴っての処理情報量の増加ですか。
そぎゃんとはごくごく一部に過ぎんとよ。
と言うと他には。
She groans a little in thought. The shadows of her wrinkles grow darker.
レイルロードの制御、演算のプロセッサは、人間の脳と近似した処理を行うよう設定されたもんたい。
はい。
I initially think she's clanging the subject on me, but then I see where she's going, helping me understand things on a more visceral level. Whether it's Hachidoku or Reina, they often show reactions just like a human would toward different stimuli.
ソンプロセッサと記憶媒体とは別個体。記憶媒体は独立して感想可能となっとるばい。
Exchanged. That statement forwards my understanding another step.
ひょっとしてそれがタブレットですか。
そん通りと。
I'm correct, but her expression's still grim. No.
タブレットば交換すれば、ドンレールロードも同一の機能ばできるようになる。
It feels as if her expression becomes even grimmer.
それこそが当初のレールロード構想ったい。
では、その当初構想では、レイルロードは経験を完全に共有できた。いや。
No, that's probably not enough.
例えば、86のタブレットをレイナのボディに換装すると、そのボディは
完全に86として機能できる。そうできてこそ最大の効率化が果たせるという計画だったとよ。
最大の効率化。
Wait, let me see that again. Even if Hachiroku's body is at its expiration, if the tablet can be placed into another body, Hachiroku will instantly be given new life. By doing so, the accumulated experiences and information wouldn't go to waste. That would certainly greatly improve efficiency.
じゃっとん、そん計画ばうまいこと働かんかった。
He makes a bit of face that causes me to feel thirsty for whatever reason, but this isn't exactly the time or situation to be going and fetching tea. I swallow my spit, but the thirst doesn't feel alleviated at all.
データとインフォメーションの事実、資料と情報との違いについては理解しとうと。
Between. I feel like the subject suddenly changed again. I think I do. Her slow explanations help my understanding.
例えば、お人よしの人口が何年に幾人だったという数値や数値群がデータ、事実であり、資料です。それをグラフなり表なりにして参照しやすくしたものが情報、インフォメーションであると理解しています。
そん理解は理解でよかばい。で、
She squints at me. It's a sharp glare, which doesn't seem like that of an elderly person.
言葉として、概念としてではなく、直感で、そん二つば普段から分けて処理ばしとうと。
僕がですか。
I think about it. I blurt out the answer before I think about it deeply.
いえ、特に区別して取り扱ってはいないようです。
そうぎゃんとは普通のこったい。資料と情報とは意識ばせんと別個のものとは処理できんばい。
はい。
I think of the meaning behind her using strong and definitive words. Processing data into information requires thought and a conscious effort, or perhaps
人間の脳は資料と情報、記録と記憶をそう便利には切り分けて処理できんとよ。
記録と記憶。
そしてレイルロードのプロセッサは想定以上にあまりに脳に似すぎたばい。
the meaning of a word is connected in my mind. Records and memory, that's extremely close to data and information. The Railroad processor and the human brain are almost too similar.
他人が作った資料を人は記録として処理できる。それは意識的にそう扱い得るから。
In this case, having a paper medium serves as a cushion for calling your consciousness, as well as for preventing confusion. But for Railroads and their tablets, how would that work?
タブレットは記録と同時に記憶もしてしまう。が、脳に禁じしているのなら、おそらくプロセッサも。
He nods. A slow, heavy nod.
脳に似すぎたがため、処理、演算に特化させたはずのプロセッサ自体も記憶を持ってしまったとよ。
なら、他社のタブレットをそこに実装してしまえば。
For example, let's say I was out shopping yesterday. While maintaining that memory, I was also reading at home. The record and memory exist in parallel.
当然、 レールロードは混乱するばい。自我を見失い、ひどか不安定状態に陥りよるったい。
A statement of fact. That must be from experience of what's happened in the past.
人間にはありえないその現象がレールロードには起こり得てしまう。
記録と記憶ば都合ようには切り分けられん。レールロードでもそこは人間と変わらんとよ。
はい。
I'm unsure of how takes my affirmation. What? Only seeing her eyes close suddenly. 5 seconds. 15 seconds.
ガソリン機動車からディーゼル機動車への改修と、ソンロールバックトに関する圧縮情報。
With her eyes still closed, her sinking voice echoes.
レイナを圧迫しとうとは、そればい。
I finally understand. Her roundabout explanation brings understanding to me in a straight line.
ロールバック情報を持っているのなら、ディーゼル、ガソリン復旧は理屈の上だ。
よいばい。そぎゃんとすれば、処理面での負荷も軽くはなるとよ。
しかし、それは、レイナの記憶にプロセッサそのものに干渉してしまう危険を持っている。
Memories come with records, and the reverse is also the truth. Remembering the past is one thing, but in order to maintain the capacity, if there comes a need, the records have to be compressed or deleted.
最悪、レイナはディーゼルとして稼働していたお人よ鉄道で過ごした時間の記憶を失う危険さえ。
ないとは断言できんばい。
The logic is simple, but putting it into action is difficult. The weight of those words starts to puddle in the pit of my stomach.
そのことをポーレットは。
レイナの負荷軽減について、ただの一度も相談ばされたことはなかったよ。
そうですか。
Paulette knows. She knows better than anyone. Regarding how much Raina worries about the slowdown, and also about how the increases the risks to safety. And yet, if Paulette doesn't face this problem, Paulette also knows this, knows of this fact, because she knows she can't stand up to the fear of Raina losing her memory. Putting it to action is terribly difficult, which is why I want to help Paulette. I want to find out what's the best way to help her.
お話を、貴重なお話をありがとうございました。
じゃったら話ば終わりとね。
After that short statement, the owner of Tororu Hot Springs stands up. As she goes to leave the room, she turns to me for a brief moment.
こん話ば聞いてきたとは、右たの、ぬしゃが初めてばい。
そうなのですか。
That statement really highlights Paulette's isolation. Then, no. It's the height of her emotional wall that she built to shut out the people around her.
お聞かせいただいたこと、決して無駄にしたくはなく思います。
There's a part of me that feels proud knowing that I was the first to ask about this. Even if that's somewhat childish to say, I want to be the only one who knows Paulette's secrets. It's still better than having only sympathy or compassion.
レールロードの調整ばやるならいつでん引き受けるけん。
There is a light-hearted tone to her voice. After saying that, she takes her leave.
ありがとうございます。
Anyway, just face forward. I tell that to myself. I honestly don't know what I should do right now, but at the very least, I now understand how complicated the problem is.
客車の手配が整ったとのことですね。まずはおめでとうございます。
ありがとうございます。
ありがとうございます。
The meeting with Reverend Akai is a calm one. Paula wears a soft expression and doesn't have even the slightest hint of fatigue or darkness about her.
すみません。こちらからお尋ねするべきところ、わざわざレールショップまで。
いいえ、何ほどでもないことです。ご体調を崩されたともお伺いしましたし。
ご心配はありがとうございます。少し焦りすぎてしまって。けど、もう大丈夫です。
焦りすぎたですか？
はい、実は。
She's good. She took an ordinary exchange and... What the fuck is that word? Hang on, what? Oh wait, it's
Segway.
It's segued. Fucking... What a weird way to spell it. It segued right into the main point of discussion.
なるほど。エアクラ工場誘致派がですか。
はい。ですので、今会期末までに議案をいくつか通過させたいと考えています。
いくつかのうちの一つは、この社の文化財申請についてですよね。
He must have prepared those materials beforehand. Reverend Akai drops a stack of documents and hands a list to Paulette.
専門家にも見てもらったのですが、新たに出てきたこの辺りもかなり希少なものだそうです。
拝見します。
Paulette looks through the list and gradually brightens up.
これは、さらなる裏付けとなる資料なのですね。記事史文化との深く、古いつながりがあったということの。
とのことだと聞いています。使えるようでしたら、どうぞ、ご随にご活用ください。
ありがとうございます。これだけの裏付けがあれば、多分全会一致での賛同を得ることができると思います。
He nods, as if saying he's happy to help. Reverend Akai's calm eyes turn to me.
その他の議案というのは、マイントレジャー関連についてですか？
あ、すでにご存知くださってましたか？
氏子さんたちの口の端にも上っていますし、相鉄くんからもお電話をいただきましたので。
そうだったんですか。
She has an impressed look in her eyes. That wasn't all that I talked to him about. Where's his crew bag? Oh, good, he has it. Being a former engineer, Reverend Akai always has a crew bag in the side of his room. What's inside is exactly as I thought. That's why I had him bring it.
マイントレジャー計画の概要につきましては、すでにお伝えさせていただきました通りです。
ええ。
I want to know about Reverend Akai and his raillord. About what his opinion is on the repair of Reina.
ポーレットとの相談の結果、マイントレジャー計画案と技術継承単行申請案とは別個の議案として提出します。
なるほど。そうすれば、マイントレジャー計画がもし今回了承されなかったとしても、最低限は。
はい。技術継承単行としての補助申請の方が賛同を得られやすい議案ですので、環境防護は果たせるかと。
because I want to know. I won't rush things. I only speak of the things I must.
僕としては、赤い宮司にマイントレジャー計画へのご賛同をいただきたく思っています。
The past and present, a comfortable temperature and distance. We could have left things ambiguous, as that statement could have ruined everything.
が、現状ではその資格もない。
資格？
A blank look paints her face. It'd be on my conscience if I kept her in the dark here. But I have to do it. An unstable happiness is just an omen for misfortune.
レイナの処理落ち問題を解決せぬまま、マイントレジャー計画は進められない。
But her expression does not darken. In exchange, she becomes even paler.
それは本当にそうなんですよね。86だけを中心にした観光振興ならいざ知らず。
She seems to finally realize it herself. Paulette has said based around 8620 time and time again. It was her way of preventing tourists from getting on Reina. A very passive display of her will.
マイントレジャー計画を進めるには、レイナにも観光客さんに絡んでもらう必要がどうしても出てくる。
現状の湯の井線運営は、地元の皆様のご理解とご寛容に支えられてる。が、観光客相手ではそうはいかない。
はい。
Reina's face distorts in worry. I feel immature for not considering how she feels.
大丈夫だ、レイナ。問題なくできるようにするための知恵を、解決案を、これからみんなで出し合っていくのだ。
I also tell that to myself, and lightly tap Reina's delicate hair. That's enough to make Reina smile, a little relieved. She might not smile like this anymore, but even though we haven't known each other long, it pains me. But that's why I have to be at the forefront of this, so that I can bear some of the load for both Paulette and Reina.
理屈の上での解決策は、トロル湯のご主人に聞いてきた。
As if an electrical current ran through them, at the same time, Paulette and Reina look at each other. That means both of them already know the facts, but just kept it to themselves, out of consideration for one another.
トロル湯のご主人は、レイナの中にガソリン起動車へのロールバック情報があると。
I look and stare at Reina, but Reina's still looking at Paulette.
平気よ、レイナ。
Paulette smiles gently and nods to Reina.
聞かせて。私も知りたいの。
あります。レイナ、ロールバック情報、持ってます。
As if she's just let open the floodgates, Reina's words become smoother.
片上鉱山鉄道を出るとき、全部持たせてもらったんです。回収資材も全部一緒にです。
回収資材も、というと。
レイナ、ガソリン起動車へのロールバック、できます。
けど、できるって言っても。
Somewhat suppressed voice, but many separate emotions are present in her voice. Paulette then closes her lips tightly and looks down at the ground.
できるって言っても、それは。
圧縮した情報の展開と、必要次第での別情報の圧縮と、それにもそれぞれリスクが伴うとも聞いている。
レイナ、そのお話も聞いてます。
Paulette looks up. Reina is looking straight forward while trying to find the right words.
ロールバックはできる限りはしないようにってレイナ言われてここに来ました。
できる限りは、か。
But right now, I think it's time to overcome that. If we can't, no, if we don't do that, we'll never move forward.
レイナは
A raspy voice. I can tell that she's forcing a smile. Even so, Paulette still smiles for her. I know that she wants Reina to say everything without reserve.
レイナは今はどうしたいの？ロールバックを復旧回収をレイナは受けたい？
レイナを
I think this is the first time I've ever seen Reina at a loss for words. Her innocent lips open and close, open and close. Her breath and words get pushed back inside her.
レイナポーレットのレールロードですから。ポーレットの言うことがレイナのしたいことですよ。
私のしたいこと。
The forced smile is gone from Paulette's face. She looks down in silence, full of internal conflict. Sometimes she'll glance in my direction, as if she wants help. Or perhaps I should make a decision myself here. But that's too easy a path. No matter what the result may be, if I'm to shoulder it, that'll be an escape from the pain and regret that may arise. But if I do that, Paula won't be able to stand up. To her scars from the past, an ancient fear that she's bound by. If she loses her opportunity to face them, that would make her situation all the more dire. This could just be my ego talking, though. If I didn't have the purpose of stopping the aircraft factory, I'm sure the decision would be a much easier one. But in order to stop the factory, I want to push for the mine treasure plan, because I have the incentive. It clouds my because I have that incentive. It clouds my judgment. What's the best for Paulette and Reina? What's the best course of action?
それなら自分と変わってほしい。
A quiet voice. A cold voice. It came from inside Reverend Akai's crew bag.
清春、出して。
ああ、
Reverend Akai carefully inserts both hands into the bag. The Reverend's thin arms carry a strange side of what appears to be an abnormal rail lord.
はあ、お顔が。
I was waiting for her to show up. They're bandages. Its entire face is wrapped in them. The silky black hair that peeks through some of the gaps makes the sight all the more painful.
自分は26。クハ26の専用レールロードだったものだ。
クハ26。
That's all Paulette responds with, after turning in the rail lord's direction.
鹿児島本線で試験運用されてた電車だったと思います。
そう。クハ26は電車だった。自分がレールロードであった時には。
He speaks of it as all in the past. So it suggests a few things to me. The quiet and cold words make my assumptions true.
けれど、鉄くずになり果てた。自分の整備ボディと共に。
I don't sense any emotion from that voice. No, this isn't cold. There's just no temperature. I didn't think there was a rail lord in this sort of state. I may have done something cruel. In order to heal Paulette's scars, I may have rubbed salt into this rail lord's wounds.
自分は壊れたくないと思った。だから、清春に何とかしてほしいと頼んだ。
鹿児島本線の廃線が決まった。あの日、試験機はすべて一斉処分されることとなりました。
それは、ひどく残酷で無意味な指示に思えた。だから、自分たちは抗った。
モックアップ。外装模型を運転席に座らせました。気づいた者もいたでしょう。しかし、誰も咎めなかった。
A deep wrinkle appeared between Reverend Akai's brows. Niroku naturally shows no change.
結果、自分は成り果てた。走ることのできなくなった。レイルロードの残骸に。
残骸。
上からの指示は残酷なものではなかった。正しかった。走れなくなったレイルロードは、自ら壊れる。
I don't know why, but I look at Reina. It doesn't seem like she's surprised at all. She's surprised at it. It's as if she's been told what she already knows. She's just quietly and solemnly listening.
物は人の役に立ってこそのもの。だから自分は清春に仕事を求めた。事務処理、軽作業、計算。
I think about Hachiroku. She said she wanted to run. That's the only thing she asked of me.
自動車を入手してもらい、エアクラナビの真似事もした。しかし、すべては虚しかった。
Hachiroku may also have made this type of voice. If Taito didn't make her fall asleep, if time continued on without her being able to run.
そして知った。レイルロードは、少なくとも自分は、ものである以前に、レイルロードなのだと。
Rail lords are no lords. We're the same as train tracks. That's what Hachiroku told me before. They continue on moving forward. They move ahead for the sake of people.
だから、自分は走りたい。自分のすべてをゼロにしていい。それでも、もう一度走りたい。それは、
Ren is speaking in her usual tone. It's a soft and childish voice, but it also has an embracing feel about it.
レイナのロールバックデータを263にコピーするという意味ですか？そういう意味。そうして再び走れるのなら、自分のタブレットをイニシャライズしても構わない。
That would also mean her memory of Reverend Akai would be discarded too. But even so, Reverend Akai maintains calm, keeping a gentle smile. Is this what Reverend Akai wants? No matter how it happens, if Niroku loses her memories just to run again, because he wants that, he may have agreed to my shallow suggestion and brought Niroku here. Then I...
断言はできませんけど、そこまでする必要は。
Paulette says that in a scared but coaxing way. As if seeking help, everyone looks at her hoping for something.
旧蹄鉄の最後、 最新鋭の試験機のトップナンバー機。スペック的に余裕がある可能性、低くない気がします。
すると、こいつを、こいつのままで再び走らせてやれる可能性が。
Reverend Akai reveals his emotions in an obvious way. Hope and worry are mixed in with his expression.
それがレールロードのものであれ。記録に記憶は付随する。そう聞いています。
記録に記憶が？
I wanted, so I asked. This is the information that I heard. I must tell them everything that I've learned.
ディーゼル回収前、鉱山鉄道で過ごした時代のレイナの記憶。それがロールバック情報には付随する。
ああ。
And that's a dangerous thing. Being a seasoned former engineer, Reverend Akai knows that better than me.
そうか。冷静に考えれば、レイナ君のタブレットを26に実装するのと大差ない。
それがなんだ？
Motionless and without hesitation, Niroku's voice even seems to push aside Reverend Akai.
自分はすでに壊れている。たとえ再起不能になっても、今より悪くなることはない。
そうだな、26。
The Reverend nods quietly and calmly, cleanly.
お前が再び走れるのなら、他のすべてを引き換えにする価値がある。
This is bad. I feel crushed under the weight of his wish. I can't let Paulette make this decision. The moment I thought that, I've already begun to speak.
ならば、86でも構わんでしょう。
86。蒸気機関車か。自分は、もちろん、それでもいい。
8620は、レイナよりもさらに、はるかに旧式です。取り扱うデータ量も、その分少ないのではないかと。
リスクは、さらに低減できると？
素人考えではありましょうが、その可能性は、大いにあるかと思います。
I asked him to bring Niroku here. Then this huge, powerful wish that both Reverend Akai and Niroku have. Even if it means dragging Hachiroku into things, this is something I have to accept.
ですのでその件は、後ほど、86とトロユーのご主人とも相談をして。
レイナ、26さんと代わり番号で走るの、面白そうって思います。
An unexpected voice from Reina. Reina gives her usual smile and talks about how she feels.
レイナ、もともと姉妹の中の一人でしたから、代わり番号で走るのも楽しいんです。
Paulette calls out, but her expression is still blank. As if trying to hide her heart behind a mask, Paulette maintains an emotionless face.
代わり番号で走るのもですか？
そうですよ。一人でのびのび走るのも、レイナ、やっぱり大好きですから。
She comes very close, but that is Reina's expressed intent. But Paulette doesn't move. She only makes some noises resembling groans.
私は。
Reverend Akai looks at Nidoku. Nidoku remains motionless, but Reverend Akai nods slowly, entrusting everything to her.
ポーレット、ここから先は、君が決断しなければいけないことだ。
Her pale face twitches. Her eyes begin to wander around. To Reina, to me, Reverend Akai. She then stares at Niroku and clings onto her.
誰かが望むからではダメだ。マイントレジャーのことも、鉄道経営や観光振興のことも気にしなくていい。
When I say that, all the extraneous things fall away. But one thing remains. The hope deep inside of me comes out in words.
これは、君とレイナの話だ。ポーレット、君たちの未来を決める決断なんだ。
未来なんて。
Paulette's lips quiver, leading to her entire body beginning to shake.
私は今のお人よ。今のレイナを、今のままをただ守りたくって。
She wants to defend the rail shop, her tiny castle and her livelihood here. It's true that what Reina seeks is always based on that single point.
レイナに変わってほしくなくって、ずっとそのままでいてほしくって。
だが、変わるぞ。
I came here, I met Paulette. That may just be one of the factors, but all that may be insignificant.
86を見ろ。レールロードとて不変ではない。ロールバックがあろうとなかろうと変わるのだ。
そんなこと。
変わらないものなど何もない。駅も線路も僕たち自身も必ず変わる。
それでも
レイナ、大丈夫。変わりませんよ。ずっとポーレットのそばにいますよ。
Paulette knows better than anyone that she forced Reina to say that. My shallow ideas have caused Paulette pain, as well as Nidoku and even Reina. Accepting, forgiving, and accepting is Reina's true nature and desire. Forgiving and accepting is Reina's true nature and desire. Because of her kindness, she's in pain. Paulette's wish and Nidoku's wish, because both of them are held in earnest. That's why it must be connected to the future. My wavering heart is kept stable by my mind. I cast aside my self-condemnation and try to look at Paulette straight in the eye.
本当に変わらないでと望んでいるのか。
If she just wishes for a closed paradise, that's fine. If that's what they desire deep in their hearts, all I can do is shut up and leave.
怯え閉じこもる幸福を、レイナをお人形にすることを、ポーレット、君は本当に望んでいるのか。
I don't think so. If that's the case, she can just ignore Reina's words. But Paulette also cares about what Reina wants. Her love and fear conflict with one another.
私。
She's wavering. No, looking back, Paulette had been wavering the entire time.
私。けど。
She stretches her hand out to me. I hold it tightly.
どうしてこんなそうてつく優しいのに意地悪なこと。
それが僕の望みでからだ。僕は君を助けたい。
Now I know for sure. I've known for a while. Paulette saved me when we were younger. But this feeling isn't that of gratitude, nor is it atonement for not being able to save Michiko.
僕には君の悲鳴が聞こえた。君は悲鳴を届けてくれた。この手を僕に伸ばしてくれた。
I hold her hand, tightly with both hands. Paulette is still shaking. Her core is still terribly shaking.
向き合わなければ乗り越えられない。それはポーレット、君が僕に教えてくれたことだ。
Why did the accident occur? I considered the rose above. Reconsidered and rose above those days filled with such hatred and resentment.
だから僕は、意地悪だと思われようと、憎まれようと、君にも過去と向き合ってほしいと思っている。
だけど、もう向き合うなんて。
できるさ。意志さえあれば、いつでも。
I talked to the three about the telephone with the Tororu Hot Spring owner and Reverend Kai.
宮本さんに相談したんだ。そうしたら、電話番号を預かった。
She already knows whose number it is. Her blue eyes wander around, but her focus is always on me.
宮本さんは、こう言われた番号を預かったそうだ。あの子が恋を知ったなら、伝えてほしいと。
私が恋を知ったなら。
だから、ポーレット。
はい。相鉄くん。
Her eyes closed tightly. Large drops of tears streamed down her face. Without wiping them, her now determined eyes looked straight at me.
私は恋を知っています。
Oh, what's the transition going to say? I wonder. Maitetsu. Wow, I never would have guessed. Indeed. The flow stops. It was like a sad song, like the drizzling rain.
わかった。
The sound changes into Japanese, into the sounds that I recognize.
ママと話せて、聞かせてもらえて嬉しかった。すぐにじゃないかもしれないけど、また電話すると思う。
She's letting me know. Paulette's letting me know how she feels. At the end of her flowing conversation in French, she ends up at a familiar place.
そうだね。大丈夫だよ。それじゃあまた。あとね、ママ。お母さん。
A long, long silence. As someone listening from the side, it makes me uneasy. No, wait. Hold on. I was just assuming she's letting me know when she switches to Japanese. When I think about it, I'm just eavesdropping here. Hey, is it really eavesdropping if she knows you're listening in, alright? Eavesdropping implies that it's secretive, alright?
パパと結婚してくれて、私のお母さんになってくれて、ありがとう。
Ah. This is not eavesdropping. Well, it's telling me something. See? What did I tell you? She's unraveling the binding from the past that has tied her down for so long. A long sigh that sounds tired, as well as satisfied. Footsteps. Paulette's walking toward me.
ありがとうございます。いてくれて。
いや、何？
I'll make a call, so please be here. That was all Paulette asked of me when she looked at the phone number I'd kept from Miyamoto.
僕など、本当にいただけだ。
いてくれるのが嬉しいんです。
A soft smile forms on her face before she turns to the clock on the wall. 2 hours have passed since midnight. The Reverend already left a long time ago after saying he'd follow our decision. though she fought it. Rana gave in to her drowsiness.
長電話にも程があるって話ですよね。
いや、むしろ短かったんじゃないか。
え？
募る話を考えればさ、何年ぶりかなのだろう、親子の会話は。
ああ、そうですね。
Paulette goes limp on the chair.
まともな会話は、本当何年ぶりでしょう。パパとこじれてからの間は、ママ完全にパニックで。
Paulette looks at me in a way as if she's asking for permission to continue. Naturally, I have no objections. I get her to hang out for a minute while I make some tea. I change my seating position to get ready for what could be a long conversation.
ありがとうございます。
Paulette slowly drinks her green tea before letting out a long, heated sigh.
あったかいです。おいしい。私、喉カラカラだったんですね。
だろうな。
I couldn't understand her speaking in French, but I assumed she was thirsty since I was too. The tone of her voice was filled with emotion, the content of their conversation forming only in my mind. Before I knew it, my palms were sweaty, knees weak, arms were heavy. Never mind.
私の両親、事業をやってたんです。個人輸入の代行業で、うまく回ってたみたいです。
I would assume so. They hired employees, expanded their office, and orders continued to increase. What broke that cycle was a very tiny thing.
エアクラ工場誘致の話がお人よにあるって聞いて、それでパパ、反対運動に協力することにしたんです。
Before support grew for the factory, they wanted them to recant it, but that thinking didn't turn out well. Kosho Mototada, Kumamoto Bank itself, had begun to push for the support of the factory.
最初はお仕事の片手間にって感じの手伝いだったのに、日が経つごとにどっちが片手間かわからなくなって。
Was it not a bitter memory? Paulette's tired voice almost has a kind tone to it.
賭け事って私したことがないんですけど、きっとああいう感じにハマっちゃうんだと思います。
She started off small, and then what you built or bet continued to grow. Before you know it, the amount has multiplied beyond your control, and you can't back down anymore.
市長選にパパが出るって決めて、会社が回らなくなって。ママ、それでいろいろ限界に来ちゃったそうなんです。
The workload they both shared was dropped onto one person. Everyone gets behind on the household chores. Paulette's father hired a maid to keep up for that. As a result, that became the trigger for the breakdown.
すれ違いばっかりになって、喧嘩が日常になって、パパとママは疲れ果てて離婚を選択したそうです。
She explains it like a bystander. Paulette's their child, so this should have affected her personally. Yeah, we saw the flashback. Maitetsu didn't, but we did. Or perhaps it's because she was still a child that she was not a part of the issue. She wanted to solve the situation and help the people she loved, but being just a kid at the time, she was powerless. I know that pain too. It doesn't go away, but Paulette doesn't seem down about it.
私にも選択を迫られました。でも選べなかった。パパかママかなんて選べるわけがないじゃないですか。
I wonder why.
選べないから黙ってました。頑張っていい子にしてたら、パパとママ、仲良しに戻ってくれるかもって思って。
うん。
そしたら、ママは出て行きました。私を置いて出て行って、二度と帰ってこなかった。
She states it matter of factly. I can distinctly see it. This is Paulette's scar. This must be why she overworks herself like she does.
いい子にするのが足りなかったって、私がもっと頑張れたらって、だから思って。
それは違う。
It should have gone without saying, even if I have to interrupt her. I have to say this.
ポーレットは何も悪くない。
ママも、そう言ってくれました。
Beautiful, but that's not all. The smile Paulette makes is weak and sad, but she has accepted everything and forgiven.
ママはただ、別れることになっても、恨んでも、それでも、パパを、やっぱり愛していたそうです。
愛して。
愛してたから、一緒にはいられなくなっても、パパのこと、見捨てるなんてできなかった。
Paulette's father is the previous is the previous mayor, Hinai Kozo. All I know is that people said he was a good mayor.
ママは、一人でも頑張れる人。でも、パパはきっと、一人じゃダメになっちゃう人だったから。
そういう形の愛もあるのか。
みたいですね。
She nods. I feel that her whole existence seems transient.
けど、それってママは結局、私よりパパを選んだってことでもあるから。
She gives a scripted laugh after saying that. The smile that Paulette's making is so obviously fake.
その話を聞いてもやっぱり、ちょっと寂しい気はします。でも、捨てられたんじゃなかったんだって、安心もして。
うん。ポーレットは、捨てられてなどいない。
Except, Paulette's mother also was insufficient. He wanted to save both, but she was at her limit, and because of that, she was forced to make a decision.
お母様もポーレットが大切で、かけがえないと感じてて。だからこそ、お父様から奪えなかった。
はい。わかります。けど。
Her eyes close. Instead of tears, words pour out from her.
切ないですよね。こういうの。事情を聞いて、分かったつもりで、許しても、やっぱり切ない。
ああ。
そうてつくんも。
ん？
Her eyelids lift, and her blue eyes stare straight at me. Straight into my own eyes.
そうてつくんも知ってるんですよね。この切なさを。やるせなさを。
うん。
Her hands slowly reach out to me, cautiously, weakly. I hold her hand and feel her shaking. Even so, Paulette's palm is warm.
あの日、私、すごく悲しかったんです。
That day, which day? I didn't even feel the need to find out.
パパと二人の暮らしに少しずつ慣れてきて、ママを許せなく感じ始めていた頃だったんです。
わかる気がする。
The shock of the feeling of loss is big, and it doesn't go away. I could do nothing except try to get used to it.
僕の場合もそうだった。憎しみは慣れた頃突然に吹き出してきた。
ぶつけどころが見つからないと。だって納得できないですから。
うん。
It's no one's fault. When your loss is that big, you can't think of it like that. The vast nothingness that appears makes you feel powerless. People can't do anything but start by filling everything with hatred.
だから相鉄くんに会って事故の話を聞いて。
それでもポーレットは教えてくれたな。鉄道に憎しみをぶつけることが間違ってると。
I was saved by those words. The ones at fault are people, not things. The ones who make mistakes are always people.
それで私相鉄くんにきっと救ってもらったんです。
え？
I was the one who was saved. Paulette's voice comes flowing to me before I could speak.
今考えるときっとあの時の私って鉄道をかばいたかったわけじゃないんですよ。
しかし確かに
鉄道をかばったんじゃなく一緒に攻めてほしかった。相鉄くんにやっぱり悪いのは人なんだって。
いや、僕は。
I hadn't thought of that at all, because in a way, I was the one who killed Michiko. Harsh truth, but I mean, like, you know, I've been saying, a part of me says that if I'd made a different decision then, Michiko, father and mother wouldn't have had to die.
なのにすって相鉄くんの顔から暗いのが消えて、それで私、できるんだって思ったんです。
できるって何が？
人を許すことがです。相鉄くんの傷は絶対私のより深いのに。
Well, yeah, your parents went through a divorce. His fucking family died. Who would have guessed that it's...
いや、僕は許すも何も憎める立場にないときっと思っただけだった。
Paulette makes a surprised expression in response to my honesty.
そうなんですか。
だって人間は間違えるから。悪意がなくても人は間違ってしまうから。
I'm the epitome of that concept. I'm not blameless. Nor am I shameless enough to ignore it. Or maybe I'm just weak.
だからきっとそれは諦めに近かったと思う。憎み続けることを諦めて結果として楽になった。
そうだったんですか。
Paulette giggles a little. A graceful, colorful laugh toward a stupid remark.
ならずっと私勘違いしてたんですね。
勘違いというのなら僕もだな。僕は鉄道愛に満ちるがゆえの助言をもらったと思っていた。
それも多分少しは結構ある程度はあったとは思います。けどやっぱり私たち二人とも勘違いしてたんですね。勘違いした思い出をずっと大事に抱えてた。
確かに解釈は勘違いだったかもしれない。けれど抱え続けてきたことは勘違いじゃない。
Softly, Paulette's palm grows warmer.
そうですね。私が 救われたことは本当。
そうなんだ。救われたから、勘違いでも、本物の大事な思い出となった。なあ、いや、
Rather, yes. If I had to call it something else,
本当は、僕もポーレットもそうしたかった。だからきっかけを、自分に都合よく、きっと捉えた。
そっか。
a clear voice, a refreshed voice. That's right. On that day, at that moment, we simply realized it.
私は、本当は最初から、ママを憎みたくなんてなかった。
そうして僕も、憎しみなんて、抱き続けていたくはなかった。
だから、お互いにお互いを都合よく理解して、そうするきっかけにしちゃったんですね。
Maybe that would be nice if true, mumbles Paulette. With a relaxed face, she smiles for me.
そういうの、きっと、相性ですよね。
ああ、かもな。それこそが、相性の良し悪しかもしれん。
There can be misunderstandings, where two people who love each other can be forced to separate, and there can be misunderstandings that save and reunite. If what separates the former from the latter isn't luck, then I can only call it compatibility.
出会った一番最初から、私たち、相性がすごく良かったんですね。
I mean, you can say that all you want, but I still ship Hachiroku and Sotetsu the most, okay? I could feel that Paulette's heart and pulse from her hand. Or perhaps both of those are coming from me.
だから、いてくれて嬉しいんです。私の隣に、そうてつくんが。
I want to say something, but I can't find the right words. So I simply bury myself in Paulette's heat, pulse, and gaze instead.
私の隣に、私に恋を教えてくれた。そうてつくんが、いてくれて。
ポーレット。
Everything within me feels fulfilled and overflows, and it all is represented by a single name. The person who stands in front of me and is holding my hand.
ポーレット。
はい、そうてつくん。
I'm glad I didn't let the hatred overtake me. I'm glad I didn't wish for something else to take its place and become consumed by it.
僕も、そばにいてくれて嬉しい。だから、そばにいてほしい。
What's lost can never return. The empty space can't ever be filled or forgotten. But even so, a warm person is next to me. That alone is enough to make me feel this fulfilled.
僕も、恋を教えてもらった。
I thought I didn't have the right to love, to take someone's hand. But I didn't lose it. Michiko protected everything and left it to me.
君が見えるようにしてくれた。僕は、こんなにも君を思って、温かになれる。
Our interlocking hands are so hot that it feels like they could melt and mix together. That feeling is suffocating and raw, in a good way. My heart races, but it's also comforting.
ポーレット、僕は、君に、恋をしている。
I was waiting for it.
はい、そうてつくん。私もです。
She lets go of my hand. Her freed hand reaches up and touches my cheek.
私も、あなたに、恋を。
She doesn't continue from there. we kiss. Hang on, what? She doesn't continue there if we kiss for the first time. But doesn't that mean she does continue for? Never mind. I'm probably reading it wrong. Maitetsu, they're finally together. This is like the earliest out of the three, I think. I mean, like,
そうなんですか。はい、ありがとうございます。はい、はい、わかりました。それでは、失礼します。
I mean, like, Hachidoku had that ceiling thing, right? But like, that didn't really play into the fact of Sotetsu and Hachidoku getting together until like the end of the route, and then Hibiki was kind of like the same, especially since they were they're siblings, so they have that they have that taboo, right? Yeah. But, you know, Hibiki's route was more focused on her becoming the mayor, so there wasn't really that much development when it comes to them eventually getting together until, like, the end, so, yeah. I'm starting to understand the nuance of the word esteemed. Through the telephone, we were having a casual conversation, but I felt like I had to sit up straight. I hear floppy footsteps approaching. Is she still sleepy? She's slower than usual.
おはようございます。ポレット。こんな朝早くからお電話ですか？
おはようレイナ。ごめんね。電話で起こしちゃった？
平気ですよ。お電話、誰からだったのですか？
毛利の電車姫様から。
はあ、お姫様は早起きさんなのですね。
She's from Hiroshima. It's normal. Fuck. Rena's innocent words make me laugh. She is a true princess. It's as if she doesn't care whether it's morning or night.
そうね。早起きさんね。でも、おかげですっきり起きられた。
Yep. Yeah, I'm awake. We were woken up. We're still a little hazy in the mind from last night. I was finally able to tell Sotetsu my feelings for him, and Sotetsu told me his.
ですね。レイナもすっきりですよ。たくさん眠って、機関部、駆動部、絶好調。お、
Oh no. Does she have some abnormalities again?
そうでした。ですね。電車姫様からのお電話、どんなお話だったんですか？
I breathe a sigh of relief. That's right. It's related to her repair. I have to tell her right away.